You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a new opportunity for dental patients rolls into Pineville.
Also, the president's budget bill may mean more take-home money on tips, but some workers might not see the same impacts.
And we've got some showers and thunderstorms trying to develop this morning, something we're keeping an eye on. Then we have additional storm chances later today. We'll break it all down for you coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, July the 8th, and it is going to be a warm and somewhat at least rainy day,
right?
Depending on how things all pan out. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes, but some residents in Pineville getting some special treatment.
Certainly are. Now, for the first time, Pineville residents are getting access to free dental care on wheels. The McDonald County Health Department is partnering with the Elksmobile Dental Program to provide vital preventative care to individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities and U.S. veterans.
It's KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports the service will take place at the McDonald County Health Department's parking lot.
Organizers tell me that this truck service behind me has been in service since 1960s, but they say this is the first time they come to Pineville because they said they saw a definite need.
The free, no cost, out of pocket to people, and especially here in McDonald County, we have some people in those needs.
Michael Hall is with the McDonald County Health Department. His department has partnered with Elks Mobile Dental Program to offer dental care for the community. Stephanie Scott is a dental hygienist for the program.
We do preventative care. We do exams, cleaning, x-rays, sealants, fluoride. Then we also do basic dental care.
And not only that, Dr. Robert Beck, who's also the dentist, says it's not only physical. He says it's going to be some education also.
Concentrated sugar products that can bring a lot of disease in the mouth. So we really work on that to really show them and understand how they can change their diet for that to maintain.
Dr. Beck says those teeth that don't stand a chance, he says you can tell them goodbye.
And we do some selected extractions if it's in our possibilities here.
And if it's not in his ability,
try to help our patients find outside resources that can help them if we're not able to provide what they need.
With that said, if you really like it, Pineville, use it.
The community will take advantage of it, and then we can possibly host it again here in a year or so too.
Now, they say the primary focus are vets, but they say all are welcome by appointment. Reporting in Pineville, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Well, the event is taking place right now until July 24th.
And if you'd like to take part, you can just schedule an appointment through the Elks Dental Program.
Wonderful.
Certainly a great resource down there. A great resource for just about anybody. And now I need my own great resource, and really the data is just not my friend here. And folks at home, as I mentioned this earlier, you know me. I'm straightforward with you, okay? If something isn't making sense and I don't know what's going on exactly, I tell you. That's kind of the case this morning. Let's start with a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. We do have some clouds out there. We've got partly to mostly cloudy skies. Some of us have clear skies almost. Then we have the MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking good as well. So here's what I want to talk about. So we had thunderstorms. These guys, they rolled through Kansas City as severe. We had a cap in place across our area. They began to weaken. We're just left with this. All right, but now we're getting new development into Barton County, southeastern Vernon County, back into Cedar County. We have these showers and storms. New ones that are flaring up. We also have this little guy now outside of Chautauqua County, and then down into Delaware County, we have just this little cluster of storms that flared up. Now, early this morning, one flared up about 4:30 or so east of Tulsa. It got going, but because of the cap, it also died very quickly. We're getting the indications that the cap is beginning to weaken across the area, and that's why we're starting to see cumulus clouds building. That's why we're starting to get new shower and even some thunderstorm development. But what I mean by the data is not my friend is the fact that none of this is supposed to be happening this morning because the cap was supposed to stay in place. So we got to keep an eye on it. Quick reminder, some patchy fog still around the Grand Lake area, so Delaware, Ottawa, and western McDonald and southwestern Newton counties. Slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going. We do have the chance for some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms this afternoon with hail and damaging wind gusts being the primary concerns out there. However, the future track, which we'll update a little later this morning, was basing things on that cap not weakening until pretty late today, which meant it confined thunderstorm development, as you'll see here, east of 69. The cap may be weakening now, and if that's the case, that's why our severe weather risks do cover further west. We're probably looking at a few additional thunderstorms out there. Not a severe weather outbreak. It's not springtime. It's not the right setup, but we'll get a few more thunderstorms than what future track is showing right now. 71 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh, and around the region starting to warm up. We've had some upper 60s. We've got, looks like maybe one left. Stockton, 69. Jay, the warm spot at 75. We're already climbing in the low to mid 70s. Our dew point's up there. Our humidity is up there. The atmosphere is set up for storms. It's that cap that's been the issue. And again, if it's weakening now, that could also change thunderstorm chances through the day. So we'll monitor it all closely. Otherwise, near 80 by 9, mid 80s by noon, upper 80s for our highs. Thunderstorm chances building this afternoon. Southwest winds 5 to 10. We'll continue to monitor the storms that are ongoing this morning and what's changing for the afternoon. And we'll talk about another anomaly showing up for tomorrow's forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the OSBI identifies human remains found last week north of Jay, Oklahoma. The Delaware County Sheriff says someone brush hogging a field discovered the remains around 11 a.m. last Monday morning and called authorities. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation took over the case and has now identified the victim as Colton Woods. The investigation is still active and additional details are not available at this time. You can watch for updates on KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, a police chase ended in the parking lot of Joplin's Lowe's stores yesterday. The chase of a suspected stolen vehicle began in Webb City. The police say the vehicle hit a utility pole, then traveled south on Range Line through Joplin, causing at least 3 other crashes. Authorities used spike strips to slow the vehicle, then boxed it in the Lowe's parking lot. They've arrested a 35-year-old Joplin man in that case. He's suspected in the burglary of a business on Joplin's East 17th Street in addition to the vehicle theft. Authorities say we should expect additional charges for assault on an officer, property damages, and other crimes. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. A part of President Trump's big, beautiful bill changes the taxes for people who receive tips as part of their income. And as Adam Woodbray found out in Branson, it may not impact every worker the same way.
Branson has become more and more popular, but when we first began, we had very short seasons, and it was very difficult to make it because at the end of October, I always said you could shoot a shotgun down the street and not hit anybody.
You don't have to go far to find a bustling restaurant in Branson. One of those, the Farmhouse Restaurant on Main Street.
Well, my husband bought the restaurant 49 years ago, this early spring, and so we've been doing Farmhouse for all those years.
And during those 49 years, owner Joy Davis says they've seen a lot of growth and change. But one thing that hasn't changed, the wait staff still serves the fried chicken, hamburgers, and blackberry cobbler, trying to earn a good tip. And now part of the newly signed Big Beautiful Bill provides a tax cut on tips, but it doesn't necessarily mean that tip will go straight to your pocket.
It's not anything that they get on their paychecks per se. It is something that they take at the end of the year. So they'll show all their income like normal off their normal W-2, and then there'll be a deduction for it.
Michelle Goldsberry is an enrolled agent with PSC Accounting and Tax Service. Simply put, she says if you make $50,000 and you have $10,000 in tips, that will lower your income to $40,000, which is what you'll pay taxes on. Up to $25,000 in tips can be deducted, but according to Goldsberry, not every tip-earning employee will be impacted.
I would say for the lower income families that aren't already paying taxes or get enough credits that it doesn't affect them, it's not going to help them. Mid-earners and up to $150,000 in wages, it'll help give them another deduction to bring down their income, to bring them down to lower tax brackets.
And while there may not be any noticeable difference until tax return season, Joy Davis believes the changes will ultimately benefit hardworking people.
I think most of Americans, and servers included, are hardworking Americans, and I appreciate Trump, that I believe he really wants to help hardworking Americans, period. And this is just one way that he felt like that he could.
Well, the no tax on tips deduction is temporary, expiring after the 2028 tax year. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, celebrity historian Ralphie Andonian joins us to share how the month of July celebrates more than just our independence. And later, Charlene stopped by the studio to share an easy to make smoothie. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from the municipal park ahead of the Jasper County Youth Fair. Well, with Independence Day having just passed, did you know that July is also Disability Pride Month? Now, the newest quarter coming out this summer will feature Stacey Park Milburn, commemorated for her life's work on disability rights. Here to share more about her story is our good friend, celebrity historian Ralphie Andonian. Welcome to you, Ralphie. Thanks for being with us again.
Yes,
so talk to me about Disability Pride Month.
Yeah, and you know what? Stacey Park Milburn is the only millennial to be ever featured on U.S. Money, which is pretty cool. So it's the first time thing. She was born in 1987. She passed away in 2020, so she lived a short life, 33 years, but had a big impact.
Absolutely.
And is a good person to talk about for Disability Pride Month. So she was someone that by her teenage years, now she had congenital muscular dystrophy, and by her teenage years, she was on commissions in North Carolina appointed by the governor for various disability projects, including going, for example, from institutional care, advocating for going from institutional care, providing resources to independent living. So she helped do that for people in the state of North Carolina, which elevated her to the presidential level. So, for example, under President Obama, she was on the committee for disability, doing something very similar to try to allow more opportunities for independent living for people with disabilities. Now, a couple other cool projects that she was involved in. There were wildfires in California in 2019.
Right.
She was able to gather resources, put generators up, etc., or put resources to get generators up to people with disabilities who have particular needs in the wildfire situation, especially because it can't escape in the same way. And then in COVID-19, during the shelter-in-place orders, disability folks were particularly isolated. So as a result, she also was able to organize projects to deliver particular kits and care for people that were isolated big time, especially people with disabilities. So she had quite an impact if you think about it over time. You can find her actually on a Netflix documentary.
Oh, really?
She was an impact producer. It's called Crip Camp. And that was something that she was part of that made her pretty big in by being obviously exposed to major media. And that's kind of part of how she became famous beyond the disability arena.
What an incredible woman. And of course, all of that as to why she's on this quarter. Talk to me a little bit about the
design. Yeah, so there she is on the lower left, and she is the 19th quarter in a 20-quarter series by the United States Mint dedicated to historical American women, and it's the newest one coming out this summer, which is great, just in time with Disability Pride Month happening. And if you look at the design closely, what you'll see on there is that she's looking forward and doing a public speaking, because she was often in public, and she's holding her palm up and exchange. So the palm up is kind of the symbol of exchange of ideas. You also see the trachea, the windpipe that she used. So you'll see that symbolized there as well. And then underneath her name, you'll see it says disability justice, which is something that she was fighting for. So the design of the quarter's design is there to be able to tell her story and the kind of activity that she was doing, advocating for people with disabilities. So I'd say she definitely was a person that demonstrated disability pride, not just living with disabilities, but disability pride. And it's a little important to me because I used to volunteer and be a board member in New Mexico when I lived back in New Mexico in something called the Adaptive Sports Program, which was designed to help people with disabilities access the outdoors and outdoor sports, whether it was snow sports like skiing or summer sports like, rafting or even rock climbing. We had ways to be able to do that so people can have a full life instead of be isolated and detached from society.
Absolutely, and what a great person to be.
Check them out. They're going to be circulating in your pocket, so you can find them, of course. You look around, you'll see various women. Of course, the newest one will be Stacey Park Milburn herself. Or you can even go to usmint.gov and go get proof condition copies if you want to do that. Just like these here.
Well, Ralphie, as always, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:19 on this Tuesday morning, and we are seeing additional shower and thunderstorm development, which again is beginning to indicate that the cap is beginning to erode a little early. Now, in the springtime, of course, that does set the stage for severe weather, significant severe weather in some cases. Not the case today, but some strong to low-grade severe storms are possible later today. But also, the storms and showers happening this morning technically aren't supposed to be happening. So we'll see exactly how everything pans out. We're going to start here into parts of Barton and Dade counties where we've got these showers. We've got one north of Lamar, one south of Lamar, so it's north of Jasper. We've got them around the Greenfield area, but not quite in Greenfield, and now to the east of Stockton as well. And as a matter of fact, we can actually see what those thunderstorm clouds look like from our camera there at 7th and Range Line. You can see that we've got the thunderheads, so that means the cap is beginning to weaken a bit because thunderstorm clouds, the thunderheads, can't get going, can't reach higher in the atmosphere to get additional energy if there's a cap in place, and that's no longer the case. And then parts of southern Delaware County, little Kansas, south, just immediately south of Jay to the west of Bull Hollow, we've got these thunderstorms. And while there's not a lot of lightning per storm, there is quite a bit of lightning per area here. So it's all concentrated. Like this little block here, that's 8 strikes, but it's in a pretty small region. So remember, the lightning is still dangerous and deadly regardless. So here's what we've got. The cap, and the cap's evident early this morning with this little guy you'll see right here. Flares up, dies out very quickly. All of this activity surging through Kansas City, dying out, but now look at it re-intensifying. It ran in to an area where the cap was strongest and it began to weaken, but it was just enough. It got on the other side. Now the cap is weakening and these storms are redeveloping, they're rebuilding. And so we'll keep an eye on those. We'll keep an eye for any other development that may take place, but eventually we'll get some thunderstorms by this afternoon. And for that, again, we have a low-grade severe risk. We have the possibility of some large hail and potentially some damaging winds with that wind threat across the entire region. Future track will update eventually. It hasn't quite caught up yet. It was going off the belief that the cap, which is eroding now, it's weakening now, would not weaken for quite some time, and so it was keeping thunderstorm development primarily east of the 69 corridor. But in all honesty, we'll probably see slightly more widespread thunderstorm development, which again does jive with that severe risk area, especially for hail since it's confined in our western counties primarily. So we'll have those chances, again, between noon and 8 o'clock, could have a couple lingering ones past that. Then we get into tomorrow, which is also interesting because only one of the half dozen or so computer models that we look at is suggesting thunderstorm chances after about 3 o'clock. So here they are. This is the one. And in the past, sometimes this one has been right, so we'll see. But we could get additional thunderstorms as we roll into tomorrow afternoon and evening, pushing across the area and eventually clearing out by late evening, very early on Thursday morning. So we'll see how that all pans out as well, because again, other data says there won't be storms. They say our atmosphere will be set up for storms, but there won't be that spark for storms. And the computer model we just showed you said the atmosphere will be set up and there will be a spark. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll keep an eye on thunderstorm chances through the morning, but I'd say maybe an isolated shower storm possible through the morning. Mid-70s by 8, low 80s by 11. Our highs today into the upper 80s, near 90 tomorrow. Going ahead and putting at least an isolated storm chance up there for tomorrow. Hot pop-up storms Friday through the weekend, and then we'll dry out and heat up next week, climbing in the low to mid-90s. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, this morning we have Charlene Patton with the Kansas Soybean Commission with us this morning with another fantastic recipe for the month of July. Today we're making a strawberry soy smoothies. Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning.
Talk to me about this recipe.
Well, I love it. You know, I said last week we are featuring children's recipes and activities this month.
Fantastic.
The Kansas Soybean Commission wants to get them in the kitchen and learn about agriculture.
Absolutely.
So I saved this winning recipe. It was a winner at the Kansas State Fair last year because I thought it'd be great for kids this summer.
And it's from Joyce Conrad out of Sterling, Kansas, who made this wonderful recipe. Got second place.
It's got
so big
second
congrats
place.
to Joyce.
That's right. So it uses a 8-ounce package of the silken soy food, and you can see how soft and smooth that looks. That's the softened one. You want to drain the water off of it and put that in the blender here, and then I'll let you add the strawberries.
These are just frozen strawberries.
Yes, frozen strawberries. And if your strawberries are not quite as sweet as you'd like, you could use the frozen strawberries that are sweetened in the grocery store. Now I'm going to add a little bit of honey. And then you have a little bit of orange extract there. Smell that.
Wonderful.
Yes, adds a little bit of extra. And then I'm going to put in a half a cup of orange juice. And then you have our soy milk.
Yes.
And this is such a handy way to have it during the summer.
We're going to do all of it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is 1 cup, so that's what we're going to put in there.
All of that.
And you want to make sure when you're making the smoothie, the strawberries were frozen, but have everything else cold.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll just... And that's all there is to it. The tofu actually adds the creaminess, so you're going to think it's got ice cream in it because it's so smooth, but it doesn't. This will make about 2, depending on how much you want to drink. And then we put a little strawberry on there to garnish it with, which makes it fun. And then I wanted to mention, this is the book. That's great for kids to learn about soybeans and agriculture. And the Kansas Soybean Commission is giving one to every family this summer.
That's fantastic.
So you have to ask for it. So be sure to call our office and say, I want the children's book, and we'll mail them all the recipes for June plus the book.
Absolutely. Well, Charlene, as always, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Another fantastic recipe for the month of July. Happy to have you. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, drivers in multiple counties in Missouri might want to find alternate routes starting next week. MoDOT crews will be out in 5 counties for pavement sealing work beginning July 14th. Now, those counties are Barton, Jasper, Lawrenceberry, and Stone. Drivers can expect 1-lane traffic, flaggers, and pilot cars where crews are working. For a complete list of work locations, just head over to KOAMNewsNow.com. While plans to raise the old Freeman Hospital building are still in the works, we got a look at the condition of it from the inside. Now, over the weekend, KOAM took a walk through thanks to Economic Security Corp, the group behind the new plans. Much like a time capsule, there was old equipment and files dating back to the 1970s. Demolition on the old Freeman Hospital is set to begin next week. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've built in some cloudy skies now into Pittsburgh at this point, thanks to some showers and storms around the area, but not in Pittsburgh proper. Same now building into Joplin as clouds increase out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. So here's what we've got. We've got these showers and even a couple of thunderstorms out there now around the Greenfield area. So back through Dade County, parts of southeastern Barton County near Golden City, but just to the west, and then east of Jasper. And then we have new showers around Columbus and southwest of Carl Junction, so north of Galena. And then we've got just this cluster of storms hanging out in Delaware County, pushing slowly to the east, eventually kind of riding US 412 there back into Benton County. Nothing severe with this activity, but as I've discussed this morning, technically this activity shouldn't be activity at all, but there it is. It's feeding off of a line of severe storms that was still severe into Kansas City, ran into the cap in our area, weakened significantly, but the cap itself is beginning to weaken, and so now we're getting new development along this. So we'll continue to monitor it, not expect anything crazy, but some additional showers, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms may develop this morning. Then we'll see additional storm chances this afternoon. Also, some dense fog still around the Grand Lake area, so Ottawa, Delaware, and western McDonald and Newton counties need to be aware of that. Excuse me. By this afternoon, we do have the chance for some strong to low-grade severe storms. So it's a level 1 out of 5 risk where we could get some large hail and some damaging wind gusts out there. Now, the future track initially is thinking that cap that was in place wouldn't really weaken that much until late today when we'd kind of run out of the fuel for storms. So that's kind of what this base is based on here. What you see here, keeping storms east of 69 through the afternoon. But I do believe we're going to see a few additional showers and thunderstorms out there. And again, those could be strong to low-grade severe. Quick look at temperatures, 71 Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh, and across the area. Temperatures, we had some 60s. We do not now. Everybody is in the low to mid 70s. Veneta, Newada, the warm spots at 75. So maybe an isolated storm or two this morning. Upper 70s by 9, mid 80s by noon. Thunderstorms again through the afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s. We'll have another look at your forecast, talk about today's storms and another interesting feature showing up tomorrow here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, a proposed solar farm could bring hundreds of jobs and millions in impact to Cherokee County, but county commissioners say no decisions are final yet. After residents voiced concern over the proposed Rainbow Springs solar farm that would be built southeast of Columbus, commissioners requested an impact study. Yesterday, they heard the results. KOAM's Ty Parks has more.
Wichita State University research economist Craig Compton says this construction alone of the proposed Rainbow Springs solar farm has the potential to make a $500 million impact in Cherokee County.
And so everything that's operational after that is just going to be added on to that. The most significant portions of the impact that we see are going to be in the indirect and induced segments of the economy.
Compton says the direct impact is an estimated 300 jobs added for the construction of Rainbow Springs and 8 additional jobs to maintain the facility. He presented his findings to the commissioners Monday morning. Barry Matchett is with Clearway Energy Group, the company behind the proposed solar farm southeast of Columbus.
Long-term tax benefits to the county are really significant. We're a new significant taxpayer, and under Kansas law, renewable projects actually are not taxed for the first 10 years. That's an incentive for projects to be in Kansas as opposed to Missouri or Oklahoma. However, we have proposed what's called a contribution agreement to the county.
So in lieu of paying taxes for the first 10 years, the company's financial contribution to the county would instead come as an average of a $504,000 payment each year. While the numbers sound impressive, Commissioner Myra Frazier says it's not a done deal.
But ultimately, no decisions are going to be made on commercial solar farms in Cherokee County until the Planning and Zoning Board comes up with their comprehensive plan.
A plan that isn't scheduled to be finished until next summer. Reporting in Cherokee County, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An elderly Illinois woman doesn't let a stroke affect her passion for quilting. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Municipal Park ahead of the Jasper County Youth Fair. In Consumer Watch, the clock is ticking for President Donald Trump to strike trade deals with a dozen countries. Data shows the economic uncertainty is causing anxiety among a lot of Americans. Jen Sullivan looks at how you can grow your personal wealth amid all this turmoil.
When it comes to the economy, Americans don't feel very optimistic. The Consumer Sentiment Index, which measures how people feel about the economy, has improved recently, but is still lower than a year ago. Experts say 2 big reasons are turmoil in the Middle East and possible tariffs.
We've seen consumer and business confidence taking some hits because of all of this.
Mark Hamrick with the financial company Bankrate says when you look at many of the indicators of how the economy is doing, the numbers are positive. June had a stronger than expected jobs report, and the latest consumer price index, which tracks the price of a variety of goods, showed inflation was cooling. So why do many Americans feel uneasy about the economy?
There has been a misalignment between so-called soft data and hard data, soft data being that which measures attitudes or sentiment, and the actual behavior, what people do.
Housing prices continue to rise and mortgage rates are still high. Those expenses account for a large portion of people's monthly budgets. Hamrick says there are some personal finance behaviors that may help consumers feel a little better about their wallet during times of economic uncertainty.
Make sure your savings is adequate, pay down debt.
Hamrick says take a hard look at your spending and put more money into a high-yield savings account, which pays an annual return of about 4%. That's much higher than just a regular savings account. Also look into certificates of deposit, known as CDs. Those accounts also offer a fixed rate of return. And don't forget to put money into a retirement account like a 401k. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:44 now on this Tuesday morning. Start with Skywatch Storm Tracker with showers and thunderstorms out there this morning. Again, we're not expected this morning, but the cap that we had in place weakened a bit earlier than expected. And so some thunderstorm activity that was left over from last night has started to trigger new development across the area. So we're going to start once again into Dade County here around Greenfield and Rock Prairie is what's showing up on the radar. We've got some showers, thunderstorms, even some heavier rain in there and some lightning, of course. Do watch out for that lightning. We have this thunder shower that's now gone up right around Avila, stretching from just south of Golden City right along Missouri 37. We have new showers and what could potentially eventually become some thunderstorms around Columbus and again southwest of Carl Junction, so just outside the station here. And of course, these are northwest-ish of Joplin. And once again, our camera at 7th and range line. That's it right there. You can see the thunderhead, and that's that thunderstorm, or at least the shower that we're looking at that's going up pretty quickly there on the west side of Joplin. Then we head down into Delaware County, where virtually the entire county, in some fashion, is getting some thunderstorm activity this morning. Around Jay, Grove, back toward now east of Langley, Bull Hollow, Little Kansas, moving into Benton County in Arkansas, so just outside of Gravette, and moving into Siloam Springs. New development around the Bentonville area. So we're getting all these thunderstorms that are building out there. Here's the thing, though. Couple of things that are of interest this morning. One, the cap eroded early. So these storms, as you can see, they were in a dying state leaving Kansas City thanks to the cap, now filling in back to the south and west. That could have an impact on thunderstorm development later today. Additionally, though, the cap weakening as early as it has could have an impact on thunderstorm development later today as well. We do have a level 1 out of 5 risk for some isolated hail, so some large hail will be possible, and then some damaging wind risk across the entire region. Now, Future Track, again, it updates every few hours. I'd like to kick it and tell it do it now, but it won't, no matter how hard I kick it. So it was running off data of that cap staying stronger longer than what it did. So that's why right now you're going to see primary thunderstorms along and east of 69 through the afternoon. But I'm going to tell you right now, with the data we're getting, the new cumulus fields that are developing on satellite back across southeast Kansas this morning, we'll probably see more widespread thunderstorms. Are we talking significant severe weather? No, we're not. This isn't a springtime situation. But will we have more thunderstorms than what Future Track is showing? I do believe so. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. And again, they should still begin to die out around 8, maybe a couple of lingering by 9. Then we get into Wednesday, which is even more interesting. One computer model, and it's the one that honestly has been right in the past when all the others were wrong, and it's this one here, is suggesting showers and thunderstorms developing, moving into our area after about 3 tomorrow afternoon. So here's these thunderstorms. Now, it is only this one computer model I'm showing you right now that says it's going to storm tomorrow, and it could last into the late evening, early overnight hours. Here's why that's important. The other computer model data, at least so far this morning, says it will not storm tomorrow, but they say the atmosphere will be set up for storms. There just won't be that spark. This one I'm showing you says will be set up for storms, and there will be that spark. So we'll have to see how tomorrow afternoon plays out. Gone ahead and added these scattered thunderstorm chances out there this morning. Mid-70s by 8, low 80s by 11. Highs today into the mid-80s. Thunderstorm chances, low 70s tonight. Keeping an eye on thunderstorm chances tomorrow, near 90. Low 90s through Friday. Pop-up storms this weekend and then heating up next week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
This is your Wake Up Recap for July 8th. The top stories to start your day. A police chase ended in the parking lot of Joplin's Lowe's store yesterday. The chase began in Webb City and traveled to the Lowe's parking lot on South Range Line. A 35-year-old Joplin man was arrested. He's suspected of the burglary of a business and vehicle theft. Authorities say additional charges may be filed. The human remains found last week north of Jay, Oklahoma have been identified. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation took over the case and has now identified the victim as Colton Woods. The investigation is still active and additional details are not available at this time. And the McDonald County Health Department partnered with the Elks Mobile Dental Program to provide vital preventative care to individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities and U.S. veterans. The event runs through July 24th. Now, if you would like to participate, you will have to schedule an appointment through the Elks Dental Program. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
Thunderstorms, we're having a few of them this morning, more of them this afternoon. Some could be strong, low-grade severe with hail and damaging winds, the primary concern. Highs into the upper 80s. Into the evening we go. Storms should wrap up 8, maybe 9 at the latest. Low 70s tonight. Keeping an eye on at least the possibility of some isolated storms tomorrow afternoon. We'll keep you updated on that. Otherwise, hot 90, low 90s, pop-up storms this weekend, and hot again as we roll into the next work week, going back into low to maybe even some mid-90s here and there. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you had a fantastic time, and we will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.